So today we're going to talk about what the Lotus changes have done to the meta on that map, going through each of the agent classes and talking about who got better and who got worse on Lotus. Tomorrow we'll be doing the same for Icebox. And we're going to start with the class that I think is probably most unaffected by the Lotus changes, and that's the duelist class, because I really do think that Raze will be the dominant option on this map. She was before, and I think that will even Raze got better, I think, because we've added a ton of these, kind of 50-50 angles that weren't there before. Really, the boombot just got better, right, in terms of being a bit of utility that other duelists don't have that can clear these 50-50s for you, right? That it's going to help you, clear some of these angles for you that other duelists maybe, struggle to clear some of these 50-50s more so than Raze. So, I think that really the boombot just got a bit better, which, Raze was already the dominant pick on this map, but now, we've added even kind of more reason to play Raze, to be honest. So I really do think the duelist class will be pretty heavily dominated by Raze on this one. In terms of the controllers, though, perhaps it's a little bit more interesting, but I don't think too much will have changed. Let's talk about it. We'll start here with Omen. And the first thing I really wanted to test with Omen is when you get aggressive and play up here, right, towards rubble, which commonly we'll see Omens do, can you actually TP away? And the answer is yes. You can actually even get behind this box just here and to pretty much safety, right? You can still get out to probably what will be a safe distance, particularly, if you are playing with Viper as well. But you can see that, I can get kind of behind this box and kind of, as long as the door is open, be on my merry way, right? And be probably perfectly safe. Also, one little cool thing that I thought you could do with Omen, and I definitely will see some of you doing for sure, is that when you are entering in onto C, obviously your duelist goes in or whatever, that you can follow them behind with this kind of TP, right? Where you end up on top of this box, and then maybe, you come in death from above anyone up here, or, just play from this kind of angle, and you can, even come and look over there, look over here, right? It's quite a nice little angle to play on, and it's not completely safe, but, as long as your duelist is going in and kind of, causing that distraction, and anyone back here can't actually, just look up and kill you, you can then, come and essentially be a bit of a problem for the opponents as well, and come and, be a bit of a danger here on Omen. So Omen, arguably with that change, maybe got even a little bit better on this map, but, he's relatively about the same and will still be a good choice. The thing is, though, between Astra and Omen, that's where the main controller debate was on this map, and I still think that Astra is perfectly good as well. I don't think really much has changed with Astra, so I still think either is a perfectly good choice in that you can find success with either Astra or Omen. But when it comes to Viper, we have seen a bit of a change. Not so much here on the attack side. I still think that, the general walls that you send towards A, that these are still going to be pretty good. The way that you use them might change slightly, and what I mean by that is, normally before, if you hadn't seen anything here, maybe you would just walk all the way up here, right? Maybe you would get pretty aggressive and just walk all the way up. The thing is now, if this wall drops here, and you're here, this is quite a big space, right? Whereas before, no one was really going to be pushed up here, right? It was just going to be focusing on the door. Now maybe someone will be here, right? And so when this wall drops, if you do come all this way, this is a big space to have to worry about. So what you might do instead is, if you, again, don't see anything here, right, and you're kind of lurking over towards A and you're just on your own here, what you might do is you might come to rubble first, kind of put the wall down here and just focus towards the door and clear this right-hand side first, where if someone is behind that box, they can't see you from back here, right, and you can't see them. And that's fine. And then you put the wall back up, and then you kind of come here and, drop it again and maybe clear out the left-hand side. Maybe that's the way you want to do it instead, rather than, just coming straight up here, just in case people are being aggressive there and you are playing against aggressive players. But there's also been a change on the defensive side. But again, I think this might even be arguably maybe an extra reason to play Viper, to be honest, which is, the common wall you would do across here. Well, now if you look at it, these boxes, if you do just go straight across, there's actually going to be a little gap there. So what you might want to do is just angle it slightly this way so that there isn't a gap there. Now, obviously the wall still works the same for B across here, but if we come and put it up now, what you want to create is kind of not this gap here, right? And I think the reason that you want to do that is because then it gives you a little pocket with the boxes to play, right? So you want to kind of angle it a bit more towards kind of the boxes. It might miss the door now, right? But I feel like the missing the door isn't the biggest deal in the world. But if you can get it to these boxes, this now gives you a little pocket here, right? That if they sky flash through your wall, if they silver dart through your wall, you can, you know, just kind of hug by these boxes, you know, stay crouched, stay low here, and then, you know, play around it and avoid that utility and then be fine, right? And you see here that I haven't missed the door by a ton, right? It still works well enough, right? That someone going through the door is still going through my Viper wall. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that much of a difference. So, you know, I don't think that will be the biggest change for that. But if you can get it touching these boxes like this, you'll get just this nice little pocket to avoid utility from. The biggest change for the controller class in general, though, might have nothing to do with how good the actual controllers are on the map. It's that we've added more 50-50 angles that might need clearing out, so we need more initiators. That's where I think maybe we might see some sort of change, where the controllers are still all perfectly good to play on this map, but we might just need more angle clearing utility that initiators bring. And so with that in mind, there are certain initiators who, if that does happen and we do see more double initiators, there are some that will really benefit from that. Agents like KO, agents like Breach, these are the agents that, you know, commonly only get played in double initiators. And particularly, you know, I've really liked KO on this map personally. You know, and a KO knife like this, yeah, will clear, you know, like all of these close angles here and will clear out probably what you need it to, right? If you know that rubble is clear over there, right? So a KO knife like that could be perfectly fine. Also coming across towards C, where, you know, we got other major changes to this site, you know, again, similar sort of thing, that a KO knife just thrown at the bottom of those boxes clears a lot of what you need it to, right? It will clear, you know, all of the back here. It will clear these close boxes as well. So if that knife goes off and doesn't see anyone, you practically know that you can, you know, pretty quickly take this site and run in here, right? So that's a pretty good KO knife if it doesn't see anyone in particular. But I think where the real change will come is for the Sentinel class. And the reason for that is that the predominant Sentinel on this map is Killjoy. But Killjoy has gotten worse. Now, before we actually dive into any of the things going on with the Sentinels first, let's talk about this change, because I haven't really seen anyone talk about this. But this barrier has moved. It moved from back here to across here. Which actually is a great change for Sentinels, right? Because instead of standing here and having to throw your utility there, now you can just put an alarm bot there or something, right? Whatever you want in there, which is quite a big change. Also, I should have noted this as well. The doors now, you know, rotate slower. When it gets to the middle here, it goes super slow for a bit. You can see just there, and then goes back to normal. So some changes there that I don't think, you know, I had seen a lot about before, so just keep that in mind as well. But in terms of Killjoy, obviously I've talked about on the attacking side, this kind of turret getting worse already, right? That this turret here isn't quite as good because it doesn't see what you need it to, so you might need to put a turret like back here or something to check both B and C, which isn't a great turret, to be honest, because of how much it limits, you know, where you can actually go. So that's not great either, so that doesn't feel like a great solution. Also, for, you know, defending C, I don't think it got a ton worse. There are some instances, you know, where if you put a nanoswarm down there, it doesn't cover everything you need it to, right? Because this wall has been extended, so just keep that in mind. Obviously, there's no box to put this turret on here, but, you know, just putting it there is still going to do pretty much the same job. So that's not too big of a problem. But I do think there's still enough nanoswarm stuff here, right? You can put one like there, and you can put one like here, and you'll still see that that still does enough, right? That here we can go from box to wall. Here we can stop them coming into the choke point. Like, there's still probably enough there for Killjoy to where it's still fine. But the real problem is that I think that Cypher and Chamber got a lot better, right? Obviously, with the barrier change, we can go and put a trip across there now if we want to. We can come and put cameras, you know, after the barriers go down, you know, up into positions like this, right? And be checking these kind of angles here, which is quite nice for like a little Cypher cam in just there, right? So there's parts there where Cypher is a bit better. This Cypher trip against this wall, I think, is literally you have to get hit by it. I don't really see how you can break this without, you know, getting hit by it if you are the attacker. So that trip is really, really strong as well. There's also cameras that we might want to put here on B that, you know, we couldn't before, that can now maybe see a little bit more than they could before, right? Like just see a bit further down into kind of, you know, the choke point area here as people are coming towards B, right? We see them. You know, stuff like that could be a little better for Cypher as well. There's, you know, different Cypher trips we can put across here on B, little things like this, right? You could see, definitely see like little kill trip setups, something like this, right? Being pretty effective here on B, and using these kind of boxes here as well to just give you some extra kill trips, right? The same is true for C, where I think Cypher also got a little bit better, right? That we can put cameras, you know, anywhere up here, essentially, you know, are pretty decent. If I can actually place it, you know, something like this here, you know, sees pretty much all of the site here, right? difficult to destroy if you're an attacker. Are you really going to be coming and, you know, looking all the way up there? You know, probably not, right? Probably not, but this is where we can get these cameras and you know, do kind of some work with. You can also get cameras up here. I did do it. It's quite hard. They don't see a ton, but, you know, they're very hard to destroy. Like, I'm not sure anyone will come and destroy, like, a camera all the way up there, but they don't see maybe as much as you want them to. But again, you know, many of you who have played Cypher on this map will know, obviously, we can do trips across like this now, but also off the little, I don't even know what these are, to be honest. But you know, the little flowers here, they just come and do random trips. It really is quite funny. Like, you never know what trip you're gonna get off these, but you know, they go in all sorts of directions and whatnot. And you know, there's basically just more of them to play around now with, essentially, and just, you know, do more kind of trips with. So there's all sorts of trips that you can now do across here. One little thing to note as well, though, is that a Cypher cage doesn't quite fill this gap. It's just a bit too big. So you can see there's just a little gap there. You know, if we come, it's just not quite big enough. Now, as long as I think if you fill this gap, right, as long as it's touching the boxes, it should be fine, right? That this shouldn't matter too much, to be honest. But just keep that in mind. That doesn't quite fill all of that. But yeah, Cypher, I think, just got a lot better, as you could tell, with some of these changes. And particularly because, you know, the Killjoy attacking turret is now worse as well, that Cypher can come and, you know, fill some of that niche as well, you know, putting trips across here like so. But perhaps the biggest winner of all was Chamber, because some of these Chamber setups are pretty good. Let's just put it that way. Let's start with the one on C that I think is really good, right? So just any TP on this, and you can get down on this angle just here, and this is where you want to be, right? Like, this is perfect. And TP away, you can even go and grab the ult if you want to, right? So very, very deep control towards C for Chamber, and you're just chilling out here, right? I mean, absolutely chilling. Very, very safe TP as well. Really, really strong stuff. And you can put your trip on B as well and be perfectly fine, right? I'll just show you that, just so you can see that I can put a trip there on B and still be easily within range, right? I've got no problems about my range whatsoever with that kind of trip, and I'm just chilling here on C and you know, really holding that down. And the same is true, by the way, if we come across to other parts of the map as well. I mean, you could obviously put your TP down here if you wanted to, right, and get out aggressive towards B if you want, you know, and still be all the way up here and TP away. That's still a possibility as well. But you know, if we come the other sort of side as well, towards A, you know, we've got options there where, you know, we might want to put something down there, and then we can come all the way out here and, you know, still be aggressive and get up onto this angle, right, and get out here. Still TP away to nice and safety. Or if we're pushing A at the start of a round, right, so the barriers drop, we're coming up on A, we're coming up with our team, right, put that down there, and I can get all the way up here. Right, and I can just come and sit on this angle if I want to, right, which incredibly strong. TP should be safe here, right, particularly if the door is open. I should get out there with absolutely no trouble. So yeah, some very strong Chamber TPs, and again, that one on A you could do with the kind of setup if you're hoping to just leave your Chamber alone, right, with the barrier starting there. You put your trip down there. Again, I should be fine here. I'm running up as soon as the barriers drop, putting that down. You know, I'm fine. And then again, I can even, you know, if I do have to run out this way, you're like, oh, well, you've just completely abandoned A. But I can stay in range of my trip the entire way back here as well. So that still works as well. And yeah, I think some of these Chamber setups are just going to be pretty good.